Hello, everyone. The time is here. It is the Masters Olympia roundtable. And if you haven't heard, the man of honor, Vinnie Galanti, has made it. He is on his way to Romania in August. We are all excited. Congratulations, Vinny, if you were watching this. Unfortunately, he didn't think it was right for him to join because we didn't want to take the focus on him. But anyway, we are joined by Jimmy Mentis, IFBB Professional, Kris Scotto of the Gym Guys podcast, as well as Animal. We have Barron of Body Bags Athletic Gear, and we have Robbie Lopez, nationally ranked former competitive bodybuilder. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. I probably bet about $100 right now that Vinny has opened his suitcase and he started packing.
He called right before we got on, Jimmy, and he didn't realize we were going live in a minute here, but he said it was surreal. Like, he's talked about it, and now it's real, and he's excited, man. I'm
sure he had a good feeling he was going to be invited, but it's not real until you get the call, right?
Yes.
I'm happy for everybody. Yeah, I'm happy for everybody. I mean, you saw some people. I saw some of the IG videos come through, and they were really excited, emotional. I mean, you know, it's really cool. I'm very excited and happy for them.
So has everybody seen the list yet? Does everybody? I mean, or is it something fresh to everybody besides Vinny's announcement?
Yeah, I was watching it when it was coming out, so I was jotting some names down that I seen off of them. So some of them are pretty impressive. Some of them I know. Some of them I just never heard of, unfortunately. But I mean, I was trying to scour the web a little bit, checking out some of the people.
And those are the guys that are probably going to show up out of nowhere. The ones
they're going to look amazing, probably.
The ones over in Europe, right?
Oh yeah.
And been sitting, and next thing you know, they're coming in shredded. But there's some great names. Max Charles, right? Freddie Smalls.
Yeah.
Right. So, obviously Vinny, Johnny Jackson.
Jocelyn Ardowitz, who I thought had retired.
Jocelyn Ardowitz, yeah.
But didn't Josh have brain cancer? I don't want to start anything, but wasn't he sick?
No, you're right.
Yeah, he had something pretty serious and did have surgery. And then I know there was some posts that he was coming back and he was looking good. And I think Cutler was commenting on his how good he was looking. It definitely seemed to have gotten over pretty quick.
Good for him.
Yeah, and then Robert Bernanke, I know he turned MMA for a while, but I guess he's coming back to the big stage here. I know he had arms from hell, but
right.
You know, and then obviously Rusty Jeffers. Can't forget Rusty. Rusty's just like Vinny, just keeps getting better and better with age.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Question: I don't want to get off topic, but are all these athletes that are going to this, are their expenses being paid for?
That's the $1 million question, my friend.
Because technically, all Olympians get their expenses paid for, travel and hotel.
Go ahead, Robbie. Were you talking about this off air?
Oh, no. Oh, I didn't get here. You guys cut off. So could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
About expenses being paid.
Yeah, what I was saying before, I'm like, they're supposed to be professionals. How do you go to an event when you don't know how much you're getting paid, number one? And number two, you don't know if your expenses are being taken care of either. You know, do the NFL athletes have to pay to go to their games? NBA athletes, do they have to pay to go to their games? I don't know. It's just a little.
Well, Robbie, the thing is, we all know this, right? When you get ready for the Olympia, you qualified, you get your expenses paid, hotel, and I think you get per diem, correct? Or no?
Of course.
All right. So technically, all the expenses should be paid that are going to Romania.
Okay. Yeah, technically, but what Sean and Kris were discussing before, they weren't told that yet.
You mean Vinny doesn't know?
No.
Oh.
Unless something came out this afternoon that I wasn't aware of.
No,
I spoke to Vinny.
I could be wrong.
All right. So let me throw a monkey wrench in here, because that's what I do best. I decide. I mean, you guys. I mean, you know, Sean and Kris, you guys knew this. I've discussed it before. Let's say 6 weeks out, I feel good. I pay my own way. I write a letter to Dan. I give him a call, say, hey, I pay my own way. I'd like to be part of the big event. Why would they say no to me?
He's like, he can't say no to you.
But why did they do this invite thing?
That's a good question. Like I said, there's gonna be people that are not going to accept it, especially if expenses are not being paid. They're not going to accept it. So that's going to open up a lot. You're going to see other names, I think, that are going to be added to that because some people are going to drop off.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the Arnold came out? There was only what, 6 guys?
Exactly.
And then they did 300,000, and then boom.
Exactly. And if I remember, Blessing, didn't he dropped out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when they'll start adding names. So I think this is like the initial list, and then it's going to change as it gets closer.
Okay.
You know, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're definitely testing the waters, gauging who's going to, who applied. Then let's see where it settles, and then let's see how we have to spruce it up to bring in, more talent, because I think you guys all have a list of names of people that I'm surprised are not on that list, or maybe were inspired to go, or maybe said, it's not worth it. We've heard, obviously, Phil Heath say, hey, millions, I'll do the show for millions, or even if it was the regular Olympia. But I got a couple of names that I was thinking I was surprised weren't on there that I still think are well within their prime to do it.
There was a rumor. It was a good rumor. I don't know if there's good rumors or bad rumors, but it was a heavy rumor that the Kai Phil they were going to try to put this thing together to meet in Romania, offer some funds, and they would make that off the pay-per-view. To me, I think that's smart.
That's extremely
right. Give them $1 million each.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you're going to have so many people interested in coming to see the show. That's going to raise
everybody in the whole wide world will pay $69, $79.
Whether through the pay-per-view or to actually go and see.
Right. So, sorry from a rumor. Obviously, it's not going to happen. But business, look at the investment and look at the pay-per-view numbers.
Yeah, and again, we don't know like what Vinny might be getting, or maybe in between he got an email saying, "Hey, congratulations, here's the next steps," or there's more emails coming that are addressing all of this out. Because again, the other thing too, Jimmy, is we saw a overall purse of $250,000, but there was no breakdowns yet.
Yeah, yeah, and there was a lot of, even wellness, everything, right? Bikini, wellness, figure.
It was every division.
Yeah, every division. 10 divisions, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
20 competitors per division, so it's 10. Yeah.
Yeah, but some other categories divisions might get more.
Oh yeah.
So wait, can we? Because I got logged out. Jimmy, what were you saying about the thing with Kai? Is there rumor?
There was a rumor that they were thinking, or it was a rumor that something was happening, that they would bring Kai and Phil.
Oh yeah.
And give them $1 million each, whatever they wanted, and then sell the pay-per-view.
That would be insane. That
would be a amazing business.
That would be the only part of the whole contest that everybody would be interested in.
Right. And you won't lose money. You won't lose money.
Yeah, no. And the pay-per-view sales alone will be it would be bigger than just the regular Olympia, right, in my opinion. It would be a huge seller. Right. So
don't you think
there's still a lot of time, and both of those guys are like in 8 weeks, so it's possible.
Right.
It's possible. Money
you
talk.
You never know. Listen, there's a lot of guys. I even from myself, I so want to do it because I'm always in the gym training.
I know that. And I'm not going to lie. I'm actually surprised that you weren't on the list. I thought for sure that you were going to be on the list. I'll be 100% honest with you. I was actually looking forward to that.
The thing is like, I number one, I didn't want to apply and take someone's position.
Yeah, I hear you.
I knew out of respect, and I knew at some point, I'm not patting myself on the back. I knew I would be invited. Okay, so I didn't want to take the invite and not go. Okay, because I haven't even started training my regular my regular speed. Okay, and I'm already having hiccups. You know, I mean, leg workouts, I'm dead 2 days after. My lower back.
Cold age, my friend. It's cold age.
But again, here's the thing. You know, back then we were Superman. Now I got to stretch. Now I got to stretch my glutes. Now I got to do Pilates. Now I got to get the massages every day instead of twice a week. You know,
I know your pain. Trust me. I work out one day. I can't train the next day. I got to go every other day because I'm in too much freaking pain.
So, you know, I from coming from me, I would do the show. It's not a matter of do I risk my health? Okay. At this point, the quality muscle is there. Okay. It's not like Phil needs to load or Kai needs to load up. It's not that. It's a matter of putting it together and following what you know what to do and getting in shape. So, you know, I don't know. I think there's more names out there that
I think they're going to be. I think some there's going to be a few to drop off, and I think more are going to be added. Or some guys are going to basically they want to start training bigger name guys. I mean, nothing against any of the guys because if you get invited, you're a name. Period. But there's going to be guys that you know what, let me see what I can do, and then they're going to wait 12 weeks before. Hey, like you said, call Dan up and say, hey, I'd like to compete also, and they'll put him on like yourself. I definitely think that's going to happen.
Yeah. What are they 16 weeks out?
I believe it. Yeah, 16 to be exact.
I was going to wait till 8 weeks out. You know, but the thing is, hard. I started training in November.
Well, because you had that in your mind that you possibly wanted to do it. That's smart.
I mean, listen, I still want to do it. You know, I still want to do it. I just don't want to because I know me. I'm going to go all out. And I'm going to end up underneath the leg press dead. You know?
Don't say that, please. Don't say that. No, but you're right. Number one, it's the Olympia. So how do you not go all out? You can't go half-assed on that.
You can't. You can. And that's why I understand these guys right now, right? You got guys, 40, 45, 50. Is there anybody over 50? Rusty is, right?
Vinny.
Right.
Rusty, Vinny. Kunal Gardney, who's the most recent competitor too.
Yeah, Kamal as well too.
So at this point, it's not a matter of it's not about the money. It's not about the money.
Listen. If I was training, if I got an invite, I'm talking all this crap, I would go. I wouldn't even hesitate.
Right.
So, but it's just the principle on how do you not know what you're gonna, especially if you're a guy that could be in the mix of making some money. You know what I'm saying? Like Josh, obviously he's going to make some money. Kamal, he's going to make some money. Max Charles. So I would like to know what I'm getting paid. If I was in the mix of possibly making some coin, I'd want to know how much I'm going to possibly make. If I would be one of those guys that listen. I'm just happy to be there. I would be one of those guys. So to me, it wouldn't make a goddamn difference what the paycheck was.
Yeah. If these guys were smart, which I know they are, maybe they could just turn around and call all the few countries around there and say, hey, I'd like to come and visit your gym. I'd like to come and visit. And now you get another couple $1,000, $2,000-$3,000 on those guest appearances just to show up in the workshops.
Yeah, that's what you guys used to do back in the day.
That's what we did. Yeah.
So bank on that.
Chris Barron, you used to compete. What do you think about this? What the two guys are saying here?
As far as what the money?
Yeah, money and just the overall what they're saying here about expenses, everything else.
Like Robbie was saying too. I mean, I think a lot of the guys that are going in it, I don't think it's about the money. I think they want to get this invite, especially for a lot of the guys. I look at some of the women on the list actually, and some of them are competing in the open and doing extremely well still. So, and some of them are, I mean, like Jessica Padilla. I mean, she's one spot away from winning the Olympia every year, but she's doing the Masters Olympia. So, I mean, again, you never know what's going to happen. But I don't know if I don't know. Some of them, it could be the money. Some of them, it's just a title. I mean, some of them could be anything. I mean, it's depending on your mindset at the time. For Vinny, I know it's probably just about getting to the Olympia. I mean, he's been doing it since 1986. You know what I mean? So to get an invite to Olympia, it's. I don't think he cares if they're paying anything.
Somebody had mentioned, I forgot. I told her on one of the webcasts. Sean Clarita, is he of the age that could have done it?
I think he's over 40.
Yeah, but I think a few of the men's was over 45. You had to be too.
He's not 45. So.
No, they. You're right, and then they changed it to all 40.
Oh, did they?
So it's 40.
Yeah.
Okay. So
is
wow.
David Henry on the list?
He's in the 212.
Yeah, he's 212.
He's 212.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I heard he was doing it.
Yeah, but Clarita could have done the open and yeah. I mean, shit, he could have done the open and 4,000 in the open. You know.
All right. So who's your top 5?
I'll tell you what. My favorite.
We'll see how many times it changes.
I'm going to go with Josh winning the show. Josh Lenoirowitz.
Wow.
Yeah, listen, that's a good competitor there, and a great freaking guy too.
Yeah.
But and I'm trying to think. I see Ken. Yeah, I would have Josh over Kamal. I'll have Josh over Max Charles. Yeah, I'm sticking with Josh for the win.
Yeah, you might be right. I've seen Josh at his prime, and he was
amazing.
He pulled it together. Yeah.
I think the last show, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he did the Arnold a couple years back before he had the issue with the brain.
Yep.
And I think the last Arnold he didn't do that well, but the one before that he was in the top 5 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. He plays top 5.
Yeah. Okay. So and he's a beast. He's a beast. Yeah, I don't really see anybody else beating him. Besides
Kris Scotto, what do you think?
No, I mean, Robert's got a really good point. Definitely, that guy was super serious, especially on those Arnolds.
Yeah.
Like I said, I remember, Jay Cutler even giving him a lot of compliments, like, of, where he was and even more potential. If I had to do first pick without being biased, because obviously we love Vinny, I'm feeling Kamal just because of he's just never, ever stopped.
Yeah.
And he's just that complete. Max Charles could certainly be up there too. He's never stopped. Seen him at Bev's many a times. Always a gentleman and ridiculous shape, and he's obviously hungry. So I mean, there's some strong names here. But if I had to pick one on top right now, as soon as I saw the list, I thought it was Kamal.
Because we've seen him in shape. We know what he looks like right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's.
Phil Clahar too. That's another. He's an older guy who's been close to winning some shows, some big shows. I mean, smaller tier shows, but he's a great competitor also. Rusty Jeffers is always looking phenomenal.
Rusty looks good, yeah.
I'm trying to see.
What names did you guys?
Got to throw Vinny up in the top 5.
I'll let you ask it, Sean. I'm thinking about who's not on this list that should be.
Yeah, so there was rumors of Johnny Jackson, Ronnie Rockel.
Well, Johnny Jackson, I saw this. Branch Warren was his training partner. His show is the same day. The show that he runs, the Johnny Jackson Classic, is the same day as this show. That's why he's not doing it.
Okay.
Johnny told me he was doing it. When I saw him at the Arnold, if you need to do it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, this was Branch. This was on the whatever Dennis James podcast. He interviewed a couple days, like last week, and he said that the show is the same day as his show.
And then also an old name from the past, Henderson Thorne too.
Oh, I thought you said he was on this list. Wow, Henderson.
No, he's not. He was another one that I think that was pretty open, saying he put his name in the hat, if I remember correctly.
How old is he though now?
Like 62.
Oh my God. Henderson, he's from Canada, right?
Yes. Wow, that's a name.
Wow, what a name! I haven't heard him in a long time.
Yeah, check out his IG page. Super impressive how he still looks. I was like, wow, the back and still the side chest shot. I mean, I have great memories of watching him compete back in the day at the Ironman Pro Invitational every year. He always showed up, just so complete.
I'm trying. Didn't you say, Sean, you thought Brandon Curry was going to do it?
I just had a weird feeling that for him, it probably wasn't the money. It was more of a tune-up for maybe the regular Olympia, but
that would be
if he could make a quick payday. And
if he was on here, he would be the favorite. No question about it.
Oh yeah.
But Jimmy, here's a question for you, because a lot of these guys have not competed in years. Okay, and we've got some other guys like Vinny and Kamal and everybody else that are still competing. Do you think the lack of time on the stage is going to hurt them, or do you think a lot of these guys are going to be able to put the pedal to the metal?
I can only speak from my experience, what I've seen in the last year. You think you look a certain way, and then once all that shit starts coming off you, you're like, yeah, I need work on that. And then you're like, when did I tear that? And then you're like, okay, how do I tighten the skin on that? You know? So it took me a while to all I need to do is drop weight, I'm good to go. Right? But that wasn't the case. I mean, I had to go back to the drawing board, which I love, you know, because it kept me going. I had to go back to the drawing board and said, okay, if Jimmy Mentis came to me to train him, what would I do? And I had to listen to myself and not question it. Right? And that's what I did. So the only thing that I would say to these guys that haven't competed in such a long time is they need to really be self-aware on the good and the bad and to address them right away.
And I would say get in shape earlier.
Yes.
Like before Jimmy, I'm sure with me, I can get show contest shape in 4 weeks. Now it would probably take me 18 weeks to get in shape. Yeah, you know, because you still have that mentality like, oh, okay, this is how I used to do it, but you can't do it the same way.
I started before Christmas. I started doing cardio, fasted cardio. I'm like, I'll go up 5,000 calories, and I'll do fasted cardio every morning. I'll be fine. Man, I was dropping, and I wasn't even dropping body fat. I was just shrinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, my shirts were hanging off, and I'm eating more food. I'm like, what's going on? I mean, and I used to do that back then. You know, more food, cardio. It's not like that anymore. And then my recovery was totally different. It is now.
I think the recovery part is probably the biggest thing. The biggest thing, because again, I know Jimmy, I know you train like a maniac, you know, and you still have that mentality. But the thing is, like you said, when you were younger, you could recover in a couple hours. Right. You know, now it takes days. Yeah, days.
Yeah, I'll train my legs sometimes once a week, and then I'll train my legs. Yeah. I'll train my legs twice a week, and then the twice a week is when I get the back spasms.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, so
let me bring up the 212 here, guys, and Chris Barron, I'll defer to you here if there's anybody that a couple of good names in there. What do you think, Chris? If you've seen this for the first time or not, Chris Barron or Kris Scotto?
I checked it out before a little bit. David Henry popped out, of course. Derek Farnsworth popped out a little bit. I mean, Hidatati. I mean, he's competitive. I mean, extremely competitive. So, I mean, he, to me, is a favorite on that list. I mean, then there's a ton of names that are on there. Like Jimmy was saying, there's a ton of names on there that we don't know. Like, you know, you might not be aware of that are coming from overseas somewhere that might just steal a show. I mean, it just looked incredible. So, but I mean, just from the people I know, I mean, those are the three that really stood out to me.
Yeah, Heath was funny because he already started promoting I'm back before this was even announced on all over social media.
Yeah.
You know
Chris
what?
Scotto, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You know what name sticks out to me? I just got turned on to him on Instagram lately. Is Bola? What's his name? Bola Ojex. You got to look him up. Yeah. He looks phenomenal. If I have a pick on this whole 212, I'm going with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Robert, when did he last compete, or is he just
No, he's still an active competitor.
Yeah,
I guess he just falls into age. I think he was in the other IFBB league, and I guess this is going to be his first show. Yeah, you got to look him up. He looks amazing.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I would agree with Chris on those calls. I mean, David Henry again, right? Never stopped.
Yeah,
I think any of us, I can remember seeing David Henry in Tribeca, one of the first New York pros after it changed from the NOC to the New York Pro, and the guy just still looks amazing. It's just like he's just preserved in time. It's incredible. I mean, obviously he's training hard and he's got his different style, but I mean, that's almost the guy really from the 212 that can, you know, depending on who's in the Open, could give the Open a run for their money too.
Yeah, I agree.
David Henry was the Sean Clarita that is today. Remember? Yes. David Henry would come in out of nowhere, okay, and just beat these big guys.
Yep.
And was he the first Mr. Olympia 202?
I believe so.
I believe 202, yeah.
Yeah.
If not him, then what? Kevin English, right?
I think Kevin came after him, and then Kevin just started winning them all. But he was before. Yeah, he was before Kevin English.
Was anybody surprised to see Heath at 212 and not the Open?
No. I think that's where he belongs, in the 212.
Okay. So I'll go quickly to the next one here. Oh. Which is classic, and I don't know if anybody's really a classic guy, but the one that sticks out obviously is Darren Charles. I'm surprised that he's down at classic now.
I think that's a good look for him, because last he competed was in classic.
Right.
Darren.
Well, you remember when he competed, it was, well, we called them then the second tier shows. You know, the Tampa, well, not the old Tampa, the ones that had a $20,000 purse, and he would win all of them.
Yeah, he'd clean up.
He would win all of them. What's the weight? What's the weight on the classic?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's all by height. Like Bumstead's 6'1", and his cap is 240.
Okay, so in other words, if I do it,
you could technically do classic.
I could technically go back down to classic. Well, I'd probably definitely be under 240.
No, but again, I think it's based on your height.
It's based on the height. Yeah.
Just got to bump it up to 8,000 calories, Jimmy.
No, I got to tell you, I wasn't even thinking about doing the Open. I was thinking about trying to bring my old lines back. Not playing the big game.
Yeah, but
if I remember correctly, Vinny and I joked about this, and he said at his height he'd have to go down to like 185 or 182, and he's like, I'm not going to sacrifice that much muscle.
At 6'1", I'll be what? It's 235. 6'1" is 235, 240.
Yeah. You'd be the old version of Chris Bumstead, baby.
I'm only 15 pounds away. And I got 15 pounds on me.
Here's one for you guys, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I just saw the name, and it just I think a light bulb went off. Is Greg Rando one of the bodybuilders that was blind?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my God, he's on that. Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Yes.
I remember when he won the Universe.
Yep.
Back in the day. Wow.
That's like amazing.
I can't even fathom how that's possible.
I for anything, right? For posing and just gauging everything.
Just think of what we do. It's all about what you see. So that's strictly on field. That to me is beyond amazing. Crazy. Beyond amazing.
I think I remember. You guys know it better than me from your professional and top amateur experience. The organizer, orchestrator, what are they called? The gentleman that brings everyone in on stage and
expediter.
I'm sorry, expediter. Thank you. I think I remember the expediter kind of like holding his hand and like guiding him to stage on Old Night of Champions, and just thinking like, God, this guy, the way he can train, can't look in the mirror, can't even gauge his condition. Like it's insane. You
got to have somebody, number one. This is my opinion, that you can trust. That's showing you like, okay, that looks good, and that's what you got. Like obviously. And all of us that competed, when we pose doing a routine, it's all about, okay, this is the feel you got to have in order to look good in a particular pose. That's so he does it strictly on feel. That's amazing.
But whoever's next to him is a true friend.
Yes,
true friend.
God, I don't think I have any friends that are just like that.
People tell me, "Yeah, you look great." Like,
yeah, oh yeah. Meanwhile, you look like dog. Yeah, I don't have any friends like that. I can do me like that.
So for this, I was actually surprised not to see Danny Hester on there, because Danny Hester was the first classic winner. Yeah. And he still looks like $1 million.
Danny might be a name that might pop up.
You know what? I agree with you, Jimmy. I bet you he does, because he still looks amazing.
Yeah, always
amazing. Like he can compete tomorrow. He always looks good.
I think I saw a video. I don't know if it's an old video, but I think he was just guest posing 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. I seen that. Wow, that would be a good addition to this, and he would be your favorite. Yeah, I would think.
So, Chris Barron, who would you go with? I know we don't know a lot of the names, because I want to say a lot of these are international, perhaps. Yeah. But Chris Barron, you thinking Darren Charles sweeping it up?
I always liked him anyway. I was always a fan of his to begin with. Yeah, so I mean, I'm leaning towards that. Unless Danny popped up, I think Danny has incredible physique.
Well, the first name on the list, Alex Carbonero. He just competed in the Olympia, this past Olympia.
Did he just play second or third?
Yeah, I have him up there too. I actually have his name up there. Also, I jotted his name down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me,
I saw a lot of people comment during the their live cast of the announcement. People were like, "Oh my God, Cabernero."
Yeah, to me, he would be the favorite. Number one, because he's still a seasoned competitor. Darren has been out of it for a while. We don't know exactly what Darren's going to look like. We know he's going to put on a great posing routine, that's for sure. But I'm going to pick Alex because he's still fresh, and like I said, he just competed in the past Olympia.
Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of bikini here because I think bikini is, and I don't know if any of these names ring a bell to anybody, but I know that this is probably the most stacked. I think there's 20 people or 22 females on this one.
That's a big lineup.
But Jimmy, nobody, because I know you're very in tune with the women, obviously with your product line, Jimmy. I don't know if any of these lovely ladies reach out to you, but obviously, good luck to them.
Nah, there's a couple on here that I know are customers, but
that's a good thing.
But
he'll find his way to the show one way or another.
I'll let you guys know the next week or so how many beauty bums are being sold. But
yeah, you got wellness as well. And I know wellness is another one that's getting a lot of notoriety over the last couple of years here. That this might be the female division that's going to be on the highest growth, I would think.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think it's getting out of control.
In which way, Jimmy?
I just think it's all ass, and it's literally all ass.
Yeah, well, that's what it was.
So what's the problem, Jimmy?
It was started for that. Remember, this was taken from Brazil.
Yeah, so I mean, look what happened with bikini, right? Bikini got out of control. Then they brought the wellness because the girls and the glutes and stuff like that. They brought it, right? Now you got these wellness girls are actually looking like physique girls.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into two of them last week. I swear to God, they looked amazing. Don't get me wrong, because I respect the work. I respect what they go through, but at some point, it's just getting too much, right? So now you got the wellness. The wellness from the waist down was okay, and now they're getting even harder and harder and harder. Now their upper bodies are growing.
Yeah.
So take the heels off them, and
they're bodybuilders.
They're physique girls, yeah.
Yeah. See, that doesn't make sense because the wellness was supposed to be, from my understanding, it was supposed to be about glutes and a more natural look, a softer look.
A bigger, softer look.
Yes, exactly. So now if they're coming in and with possible, borderline striated glutes, and now you're telling upper bodies are big, then that, to me, that just takes away from it. Like I said, they're bodybuilders with heels on, almost. Yeah, doesn't make sense.
I liked it when it first came out, and all I see now is these girls just, see, I'm more part of the training, the whole training thing, the preparation, okay? And all these girls are doing, I mean, did you see the girl who won the Arnold Classic, right? The girl from Canada. Not to mock her, but you know what? Her comment wasn't really that great. I'll say it here live, whatever we are in public. So what do? Well, I train 3 times a week my glutes. I don't train any upper body at all.
Yeah, I don't, that's...
it's like, lie.
Yeah.
You are trying to inspire, motivate, whatever you are. You just won the Arnold Classic. Arnold's asking you a question. So what did you do to get ready for the Arnold Classic? Well, Arnold, I trained my ass off. I did this, this, and this. She turns, she goes, well, I really didn't train much. I trained 3 times a week on my glutes, hamstrings and glutes. I didn't train no upper body. You know what? You see what Arnold did? Great, thank you.
Yeah, because you know what? Because her not thinking now.
We lost him.
He's still in thought.
Yeah. Maybe that thought shouldn't come out.
You're right about that. Arnold's waiting for you to talk about that you train 7 days a week, double splits a day, the heart, always training, never stopped, diet and everything. And
here comes the marketing question. Here it comes.
Back?
You back?
Yeah.
Tell us your thought.
So anyway, what I was saying about, I see these women these girls at the gym, young girls, all they're doing is they're training their glutes. That's it. They'll literally spend every day just training glutes. And I'm like, wow, there's more to it than that. You know, that would be like if there was a men's class and all it was just training biceps and that's it. You know, what would be the purpose of that? And then announcing that on stage. Well, all I did was just train biceps 3 days a week.
Right.
Makes no sense.
Red, come here.
Chris Barron, do you follow any of the female stuff, or?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So agree to disagree with Jimmy and Robbie, or?
No, I totally agree. I mean, it started out great, and it's now, you know, the problem is you have a lot of girls crossing over too, like jumping out of all the divisions, and you have physique girls coming out of divisions into wellness, and they still have their physique upper bodies, and all they're doing is growing out their lower body on top of it. So I mean, a lot of them are just insane, like detail. They're getting such deep separation, and I mean, they look, like Jimmy said, they look phenomenal. But is it still that division now? I mean, so who knows? I mean, it's going in that direction. That's all.
Kris Scotto, comment?
It's hard to tell. You know, there is so much crossover. There really is. You know, I couldn't tell you right now the difference or the caliber or the division of Missy Truscott to Natalia Coelho. Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone looks like phenomenal, especially when you see them in person. Everyone looks phenomenal. Everyone's just so dialed in all the time. Then obviously there's the gymnast and the acrobatic talent involved and all the choreography. I mean, and when they go on stage, some of these girls go on stage. I mean, my God, I can't even imagine all the prep that they put into it. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, what's the line from one division to the next? Because it is starting to get blurred.
Yeah. And we'll finish off with the last here. What happened? I just lost my screen. So I just lost my screen. Sorry, guys. But the last one was the women's bodybuilding.
You got physique and figure also.
I'm sorry.
You got physique and figure also.
Yes, and I'm trying. Unfortunately, my screen just went down here. But I know with the women's bodybuilding, there wasn't a lot of names that I knew, but there was a lot of female competitors I looked up that have competed within the last 2-3 years. So I think that might actually be more of a current lineup with the female bodybuilding or the women's bodybuilding.
Yeah, if you look at the Olympia and you look at the last 3 Olympias, and well, obviously there was no Arnold, but the last 3 Olympias, a lot of women were over 40 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the list between Jimenez, Muhen, Mears, Shemesh, Salib, Guzman. I mean, again, you know, Jimmy, you said it best in the beginning of it. There's going to be so many people from the outside internationally coming in here to kick ass that we just, you know, don't know, and respectfully, we think, you know, they're no names, and they'll probably come in and just destroy everybody.
Yeah, and let me tell you something about the athletes over in Europe. They don't care about size. Okay, if they can pinch their skin, they're not ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay, when they do this and they can't pinch their skin, that's when they're ready. They don't care what size they are.
Yeah, it's all about condition.
Yeah.
So
do you think that's the standard, the trend, or do they have better things available to them to achieve that?
No, it's been going on for years. I remember when in 1988 or 89, I did the European, and then I did the Mediterranean Championships. I did the Balkan Championships. And there was a guy from Turkey. I remember Kutural. He was in his 40s back then, but all those guys from Turkey, all those guys from Egypt. Remember Mabruk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All those guys. Robbie, you remember him?
Of course I do.
All those guys. Okay. Yeah. You would see them walk by. You'd be like, I got him. Okay. And you see him backstage, and they were just like, boom, boom, boom. Then they get on stage with the lighting. It was lights out.
That illusion kicks in, and
yeah, they were all coming with little jumpers. We're all wearing T. Michaels, you know, trying to be big too underneath, and they were just wearing little, you know, those little zipper, little sweatsuits. You know, they were all shredded. They were all look like that, and they still have that same mentality.
It's funny, Chris, that you said you wonder if it's what's available, or I think that has a factor to it also as well, to a degree. You know, things are, Jimmy, I'm sure you know, things are a little different, I would say, in the U.S. than they are overseas. Well, it's more things are readily available, I would say.
Not anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, well, you know better than me, then.
Not anymore. I mean, I lived in Greece.
Okay. Oh,
You know, I lived in Greece, but the thing is, it's the diet. It's there's a different mentality. If you go look at all the countries, Mr. Italy, Mr. Greece, you know, the Russian championships, the you know, all those championships, you look at the winners. All their winners are just diced.
So you think that they still do, you know, the old school mentality of suffering? Because now all these
it's suffering.
Modern day athletes now, they're looking for their first cheat meal after they're dieting 1 week, and refeed day and blah blah blah, all crazy shit that we never did back in the day. You know.
No, this is all boiled chicken. You know, I mean, I know guys right now overseas that are competing that have asked me to help them, and I don't want to do this long distance thing, and they would actually tell me what their diet is, and I'm like, hey, you know, you can eat a little more, you know, it's just the way they are.
Guys, do you think that the reason, and again, this is just me speculating, has nothing whatsoever, do you think they're doing this internationally because maybe it's a bigger, I guess people will be more excited to see, regardless if it's not a Phil Heath, but to see the athletes versus here that there's no, like if you look back at 2011 or 12, you had Dexter Jackson, you had Dennis James, you had like the cream of the crop that was still current and competing, where now, I might be wrong, but it's probably 50-50. People that are still competing like the Vinnies, but then you got other people like Freddie Smalls that hasn't competed in years.
Should I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think when I first heard about it, when I told Dan, when Dan and I had coffee, and they were like, "Hey, we're bringing back the Masters Olympia," I'm like, "Shit, I'll do it. It's in Orlando, no problem." He goes, "No, it's gonna be out. It's gonna be out of the country." I'm like, "Why would you do that?" But then when he told me it was gonna be in Romania, then because I lived over there, I lived over in Greece for so long. Everybody you'll see, I mean, they're the biggest expos are over in Europe. Okay, they are fitness fanatics, bodybuilding fanatics. Okay, and think about it. It's what's her name? Alina. It's Alina's hometown. Okay, they have a show there already. The travel expenses are probably not as expensive. Okay, but how many Americans do you really have to fly over there?
Yeah,
not that many.
No.
Okay, so the majority of the fans, where would they be?
Overseas.
Yeah,
it's a bigger draw. I think having it overseas. Let's be real. In the U.S., I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. They would have had to attach it to another, in my opinion, to another pro show in order to make it, you know, in order to get people to come. I think.
I think us in the United States, we are too cool to be excited about Masters, about the has-beens,
Yep.
Okay, instead of looking at the history, instead of looking at the athleticism, instead of looking at everything, you know, over in Europe or more international, you got different types of athletes from all over, different types of sports, soccer, basketball. They're still involved, and they still have fans.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to like the Masters Olympia or anything over 40 or 50, you can even see at the shows. Anything over 40, 50, the crowd just dies out.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that's why they attached Jay Cutler to it? To draw the U.S. Fans? I think that's partly why Jay is attached to it.
I mean, I see why they attached Jay, but the right move would have been Dexter Jackson.
Yeah,
because he's the one who.
The only way you're getting Dexter out of retirement is going to be for $1 million right now. That's a fact. You know that.
I just spoke to him today.
You know that. And he probably still wouldn't do it for $1 million. Well, maybe not. He would. He would.
So, but you know, Jay is loved all over the world, right?
Yeah.
You know, but why Jay, not Phil?
I think Jay attracts a bigger fan base. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves Jay. There's no question about that.
Right.
And listen, I'm friends with Phil. I love Phil to death. I think he's a great guy. But for a little while, Generation Iron made him a villain per se. So you'll have those fans, those knuckleheads that are still going to have that mentality, not realizing it was just a ploy, just to create some drama. But Jay, you win. That's a win across the board.
I still think at that point, at that show, it's all a celebration, no matter who they had or who they have involved. Over there, they still would have celebrated that person, and they're celebrating Jay, and I think it's a great move.
Well, like we were discussing before, if they would do a Phil and Kai reunion per se on stage, whoo,
I would invest in that.
I
would.
That'd be a great move, and who knows? Maybe that's in the works, and we don't even know about it.
I thought a guy like I'll drop a name, Victor Martinez would go in here and just clean up.
Victor, I am amazing friends with Victor. Talk to him every week. He's only doing it for the money. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's clearly had stated that.
He stated that
when they asked him, his first response was, "What's the prize money?" That was his first and only response.
You sound like him too.
What's the prize money? I spent a lot of time with
You're hanging around him too much.
But I get it. I get it. I get what he's talking about. Victor's a businessman. He's a phenomenal bodybuilder, but at this time in his life, this stage of his life, he's a businessman. He's got a lot of kids to take care of. So. Yeah,
every time I see him, it's I'll see him this weekend at Signature Fitness for the Fit for Autism event. That he does every year.
That's his event.
And I'm just like, damn, bro. I'm like, I saw you become pro at the Hammerstein New York Center. When he became pro. What was that, 2000 NPC?
I competed in that show with him.
Yeah, you, Craig Richardson, right? Yeah, that whole team, and
wow.
I'm like,
yeah,
you don't even age. Like you're like amazing. It really is incredible. I know we talk about Dexter. God bless him. He's awesome. And so many ageless people, but
Victor still has the size. He looks like he can do the regular open Olympia, coming up easily if he wanted to. He's a freak.
Chris Barron, did you want to say something?
No, I mean, I was always a fan of Victor too, so that would have been pretty cool.
I saw Victor there, and he texted me a couple of weeks ago, and he goes, "I'm coming down and train at the pit." I'm like, "For what?"
That's Vic. That's Vic.
So I think though, for some people though, like a lot of the caliber, if they make first prize in the men's open, 20 grand, that's probably gonna be the biggest check they may have ever gotten.
Right. And they're Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy, to put you on the spot here, I mean, you competed a few times as a pro. What's the biggest check you made, if I can ask you?
At a show?
Yeah.
I didn't make any money. But the day after, the next week, I'll probably make 30, 40 grand.
There you go.
Yeah, what you described before reminds me of some of the documentary I watched with Regan Grimes when he went to do the Romania, and then he just never came home. He just stood in Europe and he did all sorts of YouTube documentary about it, and I enjoyed watching it with other pros that he was training with. And I'm like, man, the guy's been there for a month, 2 months, and just getting right endorsements and making video and getting more followers and just working it.
My last trip to FIBO. Robbie, you ever been to FIBO?
No, I've never been.
My last trip to FIBO was in 98.
Wow.
I stayed out there a month and a half.
And that's when bodybuilding was huge. Huge. I remember Cormier talking about coming home with a duffel bags of money. It was insane.
Oh yeah, we will go out there with bags of 8x10s, and those bags of 8x10s were all cash. I remember we were coming home with so much cash we'd have to go get Rolexes, and we're wearing 2-3 Rolexes to come in.
That's insane. That's insane. And you could travel with all that money, and you won't get hassled at the airport because that was before 2001. So you just put it on your belt, on the belt, and just go right through. Nobody questioning. Oh, the good old days.
Yeah, but it's there's ways of making money in this sport. There's a lot of athletes. You get ready for a show when you're at that high level caliber, right? You might not have any degrees. You might have anything, on paper, but there's so much knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. He was at the pit with me, and he goes, "Man, what have you studied?" I'm like, "Absolutely nothing." He goes, where do you know all this? I'm like, 40 years of training.
Yep.
I said, if you tell me to explain to you technically this movement, I won't know where to start. But I bet you I'll explain to you better. You'll understand it better. You have better results than someone who just read it out of a book.
Yeah. Again,
You know?
the key thing is years experience, hands-on experience.
Right. And that's why I think today's athletes they're not executing and they're not taking advantage of all of the experience that they're building, and they're creating these YouTube channels and they're just training away and saying, well, my next exercise is this, my next exercise is this, here's what I eat. Get into it.
Yeah,
get into it. Like talk about it. Like, where does your mind go when you train this set? That kind of stuff. Where do you squeeze? How do you hold your hand? Up, down, stuff like that. And that's what makes the difference between, people who want to learn and people who just want to be a fan.
Yeah. I agree. Well, social media has a lot to do with it, because this, people just they just post. And I agree with you. If more athletes got into the technical way of things, number one, it'd be extremely helpful for people that don't know. Like you said, certain ways to hold your hands or certain way to, keep your elbows in or what have you. People, they just see these videos and they just try to mock what they see without actually feeling anything, That makes a big difference. There's
so many ways to train, so many ways to do exercises. And all I see is, like I saw Nick Walker's video yesterday. I'm not bashing Nick, even though I got a problem with him. It's just this kid's got so much potential, and he's just not using it. And he does a video and he's training, chest or back or legs, and he's just going through the motions, and he's like, okay, see you guys later.
Yeah, you got to engage a little bit more.
Tell them what you're thinking. Tell them why you got your knees out. Tell them what you're picking your toes up on a leg press. Let people into your head.
But I'm gonna ask you a question. But if you remember the old like Battle to the Olympia videos and all that stuff, or even Jay's old videos, which he has a whole bunch of DVDs and stuff, which I have, and Ronnie.
What's his name? Used to do the Japanese kid.
Mitsuru.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: nobody explained anything back then. If you think about it,
right?
Nobody did. Ronnie just, but number one, his videos were insane because nobody ever saw anybody lifting that crazy weight. But it's funny because I still watch the DVDs and stuff on YouTube, and I was watching one of Jay's old videos, and Jay barely spoke in any of the videos.
Yeah,
barely. His personality came after his career, I think. He's phenomenal now, phenomenal. But back then, he would just stand there, do the next set, stand there, do the next set. It was no real engagement, But again, he did a 360. His content is insane now. Very informative. Explains everything in detail. Like you're saying. So,
but Jimmy, do you think that a lot of these guys do not explain it because of all the bros out there are going to say, "Well, wait, you have your toes pointed wrong. You're a pro, but you're doing it wrong. No, you should be putting your elbows here." So instead of just shut up the naysayers and just go through and not explain it.
Well, that's the thing. Why are you letting the bros, take over? You look the part, you play the part, you are the part.
And you're showing these so-called bros, they're saying all of this, but let's see what they look like. Because there was a guy it's some little geek kid behind a computer mocking you. That's never lifted a weight in his goddamn life. So
there was a guy the other day, and sometimes you're scrolling through and you're not in a good mood, right? And sometimes you see a post like, fuck it. Then you see a post like, no, I gotta say something. You're like, nah, So the other day I was literally fighting with myself, and this one guy, I don't know if you guys saw it, he was training what's his name? The old Pittsburgh Steeler the football player, Harrison.
James Harrison.
Yes. So he was doing an incline dumbbell curls, right?
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that with the elbow?
Yes. I saw that, yes.
Did you see my comment?
No. I try not to read comments.
Thank God. So I said it would have been more appropriate if you would have put this as another variation, not a right or wrong, right?
I agree.
and so many people came at me, but so many people didn't come at me. It's all over the place. There's no right or wrong.
No, but I agree with what you're saying. There's no real set in stone way to do any particular exercise. Each individual, depending on the way their body, how big, small, whatever strong they are, it's going to feel different.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. That could have been just listed as a variation.
Yeah, he says don't do it like this. This is the proper way of doing it. And I don't know, maybe I was hungry or. But I know once I posted it, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can delete your comment right afterwards, right?
I know, but I wanted to see what was going to happen. It was like a scary movie. I was like one of these,
Oh my gosh!
I remember making a comment about a boxing match. I won't name the one, but it was when boxing was a little bit more popular and real. The whole, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao time, and it wasn't that fight, but it was other fights. And I made a comment, and oh my God, you would have thought everyone was like tracking down my IP address to like come and kill me. I mean, I was like, holy cow, can someone say what they feel? Like, I didn't insult anyone. I said what I thought I saw and my comment. And I was just like, I mean, after a while, I was just like, I'm just shutting that down. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they're brutal out there.
Yeah, they are. Everyone can be brutal and have balls, right? When they're behind a phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, guys, last question as we wind down here. Are we at a good shift right now where I feel like it's all the newer bodybuilders and all? I'm not gonna say the older, but I'll say the legacy ones are finally like walking away. I mean, if you look at the latest competitors, it's all people within the last couple of years. I mean, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing that we're seeing like the guys we grew up, the older people are now walking away or kind of stepping away?
Well, you got to understand, they're older.
Yeah. I know that, but there's always been it seems like a good balance. But I feel now the newer generation is overtaking the older generation. I don't mean older is a negative thing.
It's a changing of the guard, I will call it. Which happens with every sport.
Sean, I think we talked about this on the last podcast. I also think 50% of the pros are going to drop out. How are they going to qualify? If they're really passionate about bodybuilding, they'll stay in the game. But you got to win a show now to get to the Olympia. How much do you really love bodybuilding?
Jimmy, you said something last time when we were talking. I think it's worth saying again. Do that comparison you spoke about between where you can make money on this side and where you can make money on this side and what drives your hunger. I remember you were talking about, hey, I can make money on my social media end and my endorsements, and my life isn't so dependent on my contest placing. Therefore, maybe I'm just not as driven as people were way back when.
Right.
And I think that's a good observation.
Well, think about it, right? You had a point system in place that you had, 37 pros at the Olympia?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
37, 36, 37, okay? Did they all deserve to be there? Of course, there was a point system. So they all earned their way there. Now you have to win a pro show to be, okay? My question is, where does Ian Valera win? Where does Hunter Labrada win? And I'm not mocking them, okay? Where do these guys, who didn't requalify, because I think only top 5 requalify, okay? Yeah. Where do these guys go to win? Okay? That's my question. And what happens if they don't win?
Well, then they would have to do the whole point system again.
Steve Kuklo.
Yeah, he didn't make it to this past Olympia.
He's gone, right? Wants to have a kid now. He's having a kid now. His life went a different direction, right?
Yep.
So I believe 50% of today's pros in the last 7 years are dropping off because they're realizing that they're not going to get to the Olympia.
Yeah.
And if they try to get to the Olympia, it's going to cost a lot more money, they'll risk their health, but they can have what I say. But Kris, They can have their YouTube channel. They can have this. They can still make their money there. Okay? The thing is, they still have to compete somehow, some way. Can you handle that?
You know,
now you're going to be a businessman. Can you handle that? I only did 2 pro shows. Only 2.
But you're a smart businessman.
I was on the road in 96, 97 when I did all the most of the covers. I was on the road 36 weeks out of the 52.
And think about it, and you only did 2 pro shows.
2 pro shows.
But your name was still out there.
Right.
You did the business of marketing yourself and
I we didn't have the tools then. Yeah. Now you got guys who have, are smart, okay, intelligent. They have the physique. They train hard. Put that to work.
Yeah, I agree. You know what's going to be interesting? The upcoming New York Pro. How many so-called, top guys are going to be in that show? I don't even know of anybody that's, before, like in the past, Night of Champions, there was a whole bunch of names that we were all waiting to see and couldn't wait to see. And all the top guys were in Night of Champions, from the Ronnies to the Flexes, the Sean Rays and, Kevin LeBrons. We really don't have that.
The Night of the Champions was the show, once you turn pro, was your entry-level show, remember?
Yep. That was always a dream of mine. I said, if I ever turn pro, I'm like, I don't care if I do any other show. I don't care about Olympias. I wanted to do the Night of Champions.
The Beacon Theater.
Oh, my God. Those are
best ever.
That's such good memories.
They outgrew that, and they just kept going, just stuffing people in it.
Yeah.
So, in converse, Jimmy, do you think that people are going to compete more, though, to try to get that Olympia card? Back in the days of the 90s and the 2000s, where people are doing 4, 5, 6 shows in a year.
No. I don't believe they have the passion. They're passionate enough to do that. I think if there's no reward, there's no instant gratification, I think they're going to bail.
I agree.
Okay.
Social media makes the instant gratification. A lot, and plus you also got to come into play how many pro cards are being given away at the NPC level now. Before only 5 guys a year used to turn pro. 5, that's it. USA's nationals and and the North Americans. Now, if you at the Junior USA, they're giving away pro cards. So now there's a lot of people just for social media purposes are just want to get a pro card so they could put on under their name, such and such Sean Smalls IFBB Pro, and then market themselves on that. They're not even interested in competing in a pro show.
Yeah, it's got a whole business. I mean, now the Arnold Classics, they're giving away 60, 50 pro cards at an Arnold Classics, Brazil or UK. Yeah, I used to mock it, and I used to have the whole thing. Let's keep it classy. But then if you look at it as a business, they're doing what they need to do.
Of course, it's from a business standpoint, it's amazing.
Like, hey, we got a stage here. We have lights. We have music. It costs so much to come and compete. Come on down. And they provide the tool. Thing is, what are the athletes doing to advance themselves outside of the competitive world?
I'll tell you what I would love to see, and you all touched on this throughout this conversation. It's the seminars. It's getting in there at a gym and training with your favorite pros. From back in the day, whether it was, oh my God, Tom Platz is doing a seminar, or even older, Robbie Robinson or Kaspari. And then, right now, really the only guy that's kind of doing it, and he's brilliant doing it, is Hani and Sebum. They're going around doing these seminars, ask questions, find out about some training, ask them anything you want, and then, maybe you train together. And a harmless, shameless plug with me, with Animal, is like, when are we going to do like those kind of barbell club training events again, where everyone interacts with each other and you got that sisterhood and brotherhood of iron, and just everyone will start to learn all these great things you're all talking about with the grit, how to train, the technique, the little tips. And I think that's like the grassroots of like all this again.
I think Chris, that's pretty phased out. And I'll tell you why I think it phased out. Back then, there was a lot of guest posings. Okay, we would go to Europe or we would go to other countries, and we would guest pose. We would collect X amount of dollars. In that deal, that promoter, okay, found 5 more gyms and says, hey, I'm thinking about bringing Jimmy Mentis here. It's going to cost me 10 grand. Let's put a number out there. It's going to cost me 10 grand. Give me 1,000. Give me 1,000. He's already got 5,000, and I'll bring him to your gym after the guest posing. Okay, so now Italy just became a 7-day tour for me. All right, to bring someone, especially the guys now, out to a gym, the cost is way too high, okay? Especially now when the NPC is doing all these free posing workshops. Okay, it's free. So now, I've done them. I've gone to a few in Orlando. I love them. I'm not here for the money anymore, right? I just want to be part of it. I love it. So you go there, and these athletes are just like dry sponges. They're just like, give me more information. Just give me more information. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that need this and want this. And I think people are just too money hungry on the front end to make that move and plant the seed, okay, and then be able to collect on the back end. And they won't do that now.
Yeah. So, guys, last question here. Top 3. Who's the next 3 athletes that we'll see that's going to be kind of running the show here next couple of years? Kris Scotto, we'll start with you.
So about men's pro open?
Men's open. Yeah, men's open.
Who do I think? Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I think Walker's still, size-wise, kind of maybe Dorian phase-wise, keeps his head together, going to play a little bit more of the size game now, so he says, even though he, could still get more diamond cut, he's got plenty of size. I think he's up there. Everyone's talking about Samson Dauda. I'm not completely convinced about Samson. I'm very impressed with him. I mean, I don't hold a candle to his ankle and his physique, but I'm not completely convinced yet of that mature look yet with him. Obviously looked great at the Arnold, but yeah, I think, again, after Samson, do I think, what's his name? Who's the guy that got 3rd at the Arnold?
Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew Jacked. I think a lot of potential there with shape. Yes, got to grow into the physique a little bit more, but I see kind of like these Sean Roden kind of like physiques coming back and dominating. I think if they want to get the popularity they're after as they're watching what's going on with Classic, the business of bodybuilding kind of has to go that route. I'm not saying I agree with it. But that's kind of my perspective right now with what's going on with the top 2 or top 3 pros, in my opinion.
Chris Barron?
I mean, kind of similar. I mean, Nick Walker obviously is up there. He has he's just that physique, that Dorian type physique, that large, lean, hard physique. I always liked Hunter. I like Hunter's physique. Really nice looking body he got. Andrew Jacked as well. I mean, I see him in time becoming something that's just, unbeatable at some point. Also, Sergio Oliva Jr. I mean, I've seen he's been training hard again. The pictures I've seen of him lately, I mean, he looks phenomenal. So, I mean, I don't know when he's stepping on stage again, but I mean, he looks incredible from what I've seen. I'd like to actually see him. I root for him. I actually like to see him do well. I hope he pulls it together though. So,
yeah. Good choices. I didn't think about Sergio, but it's spot on. Robbie?
I'm gonna lead off with Sergio. I think he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. And then I'm gonna throw another name out there. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the dude from Canada, Quentin Beastwood.
Yep.
Yes.
He's going to be somebody that's gonna like just come on the scene and explode. And then what's his name that just took second at the Olympia this year? I forgot his damn name.
Derek Lunsford.
Derek. Those are my 3 that I think are going to be. I'm going to say 2024, not 2023, but 2024. That's going to be the next standouts. On top, along with the Nick Walker and the Samson. But Sergio is going to be, I think, the one. If he can just get out of his own head just for a little bit, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Good, Jimmy. I know one of your choices are, but let's hear them.
Well, this whole Sergio thing, kid's got phenomenal potential.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to stop hating the world.
Yeah, that's what I mean by getting out of his head.
Yeah, he's got to stop hating the world. The Nick Walker, I said a long time ago, Nick Walker came third to smaller guys with classic physiques. How is he going to beat the bigger guys with classic physiques? Okay? So to me, and I hope he hears this, and I hope it gets some fire under his ass, I don't see Nick Walker ever winning another show. Okay? I have Samson in the next 2 years winning the Olympia or Andrew Jack. And if I had $1,000 and I had to make one bet, you know they have that dark horse that you just, it's like out of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Regan Grimes.
Oh, forgot about him.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like if I had one bet, you guys told me pick one athlete, you got $1,000 to make one bet. I wouldn't put it on Samson. I would go for the money. How's that? I wouldn't go for my odds. I would just go for the odds that were just way off. And because Regan, I talked to Milos, Regan is dialed in mentally.
Yeah.
Regan could never be dialed in. Okay. He's got the physique. He is so dialed in that it's scary. And that's very, very, like when you get it here, that body just flows.
Back is incredible, that's for sure.
That's interesting. I like that thing.
So it's going to be very interesting in the next 2 years. I believe bodybuilding is coming up and being exciting again. I mean, we had a little dry run for the last 4 or 5 years. I think from last year's Olympia, I think this year's Arnold was good, and I think I like it. I went to the Arnold. I was excited.
Jimmy, being a taller guy, do you think we're going to start seeing more taller guys again, or you think it's going to kind of be that even keel of again the Derek Lunsford's at whatever 5'6", and obviously the Samson Dowders at 5'11", 6 foot?
Yeah, well, Samson's at 6. Regan Grimes, 5'10", 5'11"?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's up there. I don't know. To me personally, I wish I was 5'10". It took me forever to fill out, and then when I filled out, I retired. It's a pain in the ass. When you're 6'1", you got long arms and long legs. It's a bitch. So, I don't know, but I like where the athletes are going. I like what they're doing. If they just love the world a little more and come out, be friendly. Yeah. Let the people in. We were like that. Robbie, you were like that.
Yeah, it's like you said, you can't. If you want to be successful and make money outside of being on stage, you got to be personable.
Yeah, you don't make money.
A lot of them don't have that anymore.
Yeah, you got to make friends. You got to make friends. Money comes by itself. Don't worry about the money. Make friends. People want to be a part of what you're doing.
Especially in this sport.
Yes.
We're already separated. When we're in prep, you're separated from the world per se. So now if you're going to keep yourself that way the whole time, even when you're not competing, people are going to be like, screw you. I don't care what you're doing. Right. I'm not going to support you. I'm not going to go see you, no matter how great you look,
Right.
So, you got to be more personable.
I think we're good. I think we're on a good path.
Good. Does anybody want to put a placing on Vinny here? Or do you want to keep that off air?
I think I'll say something. I think Vinny right now is burning inside of him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like when I say Vinny's already has written and probably ripped up 4 programs already.
Yep. You know Vinny well.
Kris, you know Vinny, right? So Vinny's probably right. Okay, this is what I'm gonna change all this. I'm gonna do chest this and this. They're like, nah, he's probably doing that right now.
I expect to get 1 million text messages and what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And what about this? And what about that? I'm like, oh my God. Which I get it, but that's just Vinny. That's just the way he is. Yeah. Wow. How many competitors are there in the Open?
I think there was
16,
20.
I think. How many, Chris? Byron?
I thought there was 20.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I could see him in the top 10.
Yeah, I would say that too.
I can see
him in the
that.
top
Yeah,
10.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that. I could absolutely see him in the top 10.
I agree with you. I would go with that too. You know,
I would actually personally like to see him next to Canal because I think they're same kind of size and weight be close. But I think it'd be just interesting to see them side by side.
What you said, you think they're the same size? Or you mean height?
Well, I mean, like height wise, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think Canal's a couple pounds heavier, but again,
a little bit bigger, thicker.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
When's the last time you saw Kamal up close?
Me?
Yeah,
I've never seen him up close.
Sean, when have you seen him up close?
We had lunch yesterday.
No, Kamal, he said.
You know, I'm kidding. I know, I'm kidding.
Oh,
no, I haven't seen him
like,
close. Why, Jimmy?
He's thick.
He's thick.
Oh,
Yeah,
I could
tell.
I could tell he's a thick dude.
He's thick.
I could tell he's a thick dude. I put it this way: when he was training with Nick Walker, I just, obviously you see the videos, and I'm like, wow, this guy he's stacked. He's stacked. And is he is he tall?
No, he's even
like,
more impressive in person.
He's like 5'4", I think. He's pretty
really.
short. Yeah.
Oh,
we did a posing thing up in Orlando together, and I just kept staring at him.
Wow.
Like I mean, he was just thick.
That says a lot of shoulders. If you kept staring at him, yeah.
I'm like, you got to talk to me, man.
Yeah, he's that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And the big thing too, as we wrap up here, is the winner of the Masters O gets an invite to the Olympia.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
And that was 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after.
Is it that close?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, I think they're doing it beginning of October this year.
Yeah, no, Olympia is first week in November. First week in November this year. I think it's like November 2nd through the 4th or 4th through the 6th.
And this is in August, right?
Yeah.
This is late August 26th, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, perfect. Well, guys, it's truly been a pleasure. It's always good seeing you. And Chris Barron, obviously, I appreciate it. And Kris Scotto and Robbie and Jimmy, always good seeing you guys. You want to go ahead and plug any social media, anything whatsoever? If people want to contact you, maybe Chris, we'll start with you, Kris Scotto.
No, plugging you, man. Honored to be on with Supptalk, with Masters Muscle, and all you guys. Just meeting Chris Barron and Robert Lopez for the first time. Robert, I probably saw you at the Manhattan Center, and I didn't even know it. And getting to know Jimmy over these last couple of podcasts and playing pranks on our good friends. It's been awesome. So, no, just thank you. Honored to talk about it with you guys and to be part of this. And
Chris Barron, do you want to plug your brand?
I don't really want to plug anything because I enjoyed being here. But I mean, if I'm going to plug it, yeah, I'll our clothing line, Bodybuilders Clothing. You can check us out on Instagram. So.
And Robbie, I know you're not very active on Instagram, but go ahead.
No, nothing to plug. But listen, number one, this is an honor. I'm blessed that that I get invited and get to meet both the Chris's and Jimmy. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. It's great talking to you. And again, thank you very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated.
And Jimmy, take us out, brother.
No, it's whenever you need me on that podcast, I told you I'll fill that seat. I'm good. I don't really want to plug anything. I just want to let everybody know that I have the pit. It's my own personal gym. If anybody wants to come and share the pit with me, if you're in town or whatever, be my guest. The door is open. Just DM me, and I want you guys to experience that the pit. That's all.
What town are you, Jim? What town are you?
That's what I was going to ask next. I'm
in Fort Lauderdale. I'm in Sunrise. The pit's in Sunrise by the Sawgrass Mall, by the Florida Panther Stadium.
All
Jimmy, how far is that near Sarasota at all?
I'm on the other side.
That's the
2
other
hours.
Okay, because my brother lives in Sarasota.
Well,
that's where I'm close. I'm about an hour from there.
Head over.
Okay.
You know me, Jimmy. I'm going to come see you the weekend of the 5th, man.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you, man.
I'm looking forward to it, really.
Chris, Robbie.
Pleasure.
And Jimmy, as a soundbite here, I'm thinking the next future episode with Vinny, we'll bring you and Rich Gaspari on. We'll walk down memory lane if you're up for it.
You got a lot there, man. The fighting, the whatchamacallit, the trash talking, the little sets. Oh my God, forget it.
But as always, guys, thank you.
I got the nervous tick in my leg just thinking about it.
Guys, but as always, thank you so much.
Thank
and everybody watching, thank you so much. Tune in tomorrow night for Kris Scotto. Thank you so much.
Good night,
All right, guys. Thank you.
Guys.
All right, can I get off the air?